The ironic thing about Pirates is Pirates was such a magnificent attraction, still is, but it was such a magnificent attraction back then that it launched what is now a multi-billion-dollar franchise. And the irony about that is the company now has started to tweak the ride to reflect the movie that was inspired by the ride in the first place. The latest change, and it is a change that is arguably probably the most controversial change that they have done thus far to the attraction, because it doesn't tie in to the films yet. It really is, by all intents and purposes, to make the attraction more politically correct. They are going to change the auction scene. They're going to make the redhead, who all the pirates are barking from across the flume, we wants the redhead. And she is going to now be kind of like this head pirate chick that is holding a gun and kind of overseeing the auction. God knows what's going to happen to the auctioneer. He's certainly not going to be talking about, don't show your larboard side. The auction is going to be, hey, we've looted your town, so now we're auctioning your stuff. Big Red is going to be the head auctioneer, I guess. But hey, she's going to have a gun, so that makes it all better, right? I'm sure there's a lot of womanizing and a lot of the sexual things that the movies portray that are probably a lot more heavy duty than the attraction. You have to think that the change that's coming up in Pirates now, the auction change, is social. Because there is no other, it's not matching a major scene in the film. It's not a new merchandising line of Big Red's auction wares, T-shirts that they're selling. There's nothing that is the motivator other than socialism. It's got to be a group that is saying, that's not right, you know what, I'm not comfortable with that, and hey, while we're at it, that kind of bugs me too. The guys and gals that were designing the attraction were not sitting around a conference room table at WED going, God, okay, so how can we auction off women as sex slaves? How can we do sex trafficking? That would be a really great gag to pull off. It's not about that. Pirates were obviously not the most PC people in the world, and they did a lot of bad things, and history knows this. If you ride every attraction and extrapolate, oh my God, but what happened after we turned the corner? Half the rides, more than half the rides at Disneyland would have to be raised and done all over again with white touchy-feely gloves. And I really hope that the society just can't evolve into that, because I mean, at that point, you can't joke about anything. You can't joke about anything. You can't be tongue-in-cheek. You can't. There are a lot of dark humor moments. There's always my way at the Haunted Mansion. What are they going to take the hanging guy out because Robin Williams hung himself? Or it's people off themselves. People do horrible things to one another. But to take that real life and put it into an attraction where it was never even I never grew up or even worked the attraction and rode through the auction scene once going, that really sucks. They're going to get taken home and just raped and probably killed when they're done raping them. And God, that's a horrible thing that Mark and them did. That never crossed my mind. And I would venture to guess that if people really did some soul searching, until this came up a half a year ago, very few people went through Pirates of the Caribbean and said, oh, I've got a real problem with this. And if you got to be in that vein, then I hope you're not watching the movies at home either, too, because the movies are a lot more offensive than the attraction ever was and ever will be.